Hello, good morning. It's coming up to 9 AM on Saturday the 17th of January. It's just a few days after my last ride around this area where I finished outside the churchyard of Monkton Combe Church. Today I'm continuing my anti-clockwise survey of the remains of the Green Stop Line. Last time, a few days ago, the video down from this one, I finished that survey at Freshford, looking through the clouds in that field with all the sheep near Freshford station, pointing out roughly where there was a pillbox. Well, I'm going to continue from that. I'm going to join the Kennet Avon canal and ride into Bradford on Avon and come back a slightly different way. This is just a quick experiment. I've tried adjusting the position and the angle of the chest camera. If you've been watching the recent videos, you'll know I've changed camera on the chest mount to enable me to put a wind muff over the camera and reduce the wind noise, which has worked. But because the camera is a bit heavier, it's leaning forward. I noticed I was getting good shots of the handlebars, but not really the road and the scenery I'm heading through. So this is just a quick experiment. I'll have a quick look at the footage each time I do one of these. This is where we're allowed access down to the school. We have to get off and push, and I always switch the camera off here because obviously you're walking past students and children. We've just left the school car park, and this is the course of the old railway. I said to you the other day, that's where the old station used to be, the Monkton Combe station. And then we're just up above the brook. I can see it flowing along there. We're going to join the course of the old railway away from Monkton Combe. Although it's called the Cam Valley Railway, just a little bit of the geography. There's two brooks called the Wellow Brook and the Cam Brook, and they merge, they join at Midford, and then they become the same watercourse, but it changes its name to Midford Brook there. So the bulk of this railway does follow the Cam along there, and you could say it's following the Cam along here. It's the Cam stroke Wellow stroke Midford. Does that make sense? It looks very misty in the valley again. So today's I'm going to be relying on some distant shots and using my binoculars. We'll see how that turns out. Here's Mr. Exton's cricket field. If you watched the last video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So atmospheric along here. So just round the corner is where the Midford Brook joins the River Avon. It flows into the River Avon. So that viaduct is, I think, is going across both of them. This is the bridge the other day. I was saying to you, they used this as a film location in the Titfield Thunderbolt film. It's where the train was racing the coach. I think they were going to a hearing on the future of the railway. There's a great shot. That was it. That's the road leaving the A36 heading down to Bradford on Avon, which we're going to join very briefly along here. There it is on my right hand side. So this section through Monkton Combe School avoids a really busy junction and a steep hill, especially if you're going that way. And we're just passing through the boundary of Wiltshire here. Very misty, as you may see. Gosh, very atmospheric. That's looking back the way we've come. We're the other side of the viaduct now, bottom of Brassknocker Hill. That's it going up there. Then that'll end up on Claverton Down where Bath University is. And this is where the Titfield Thunderbolt Railway would have left this main Bristol to Salisbury line, curve off to the left. You can just see part of the viaduct over there as it curves round. And then we rode along its course just now. This gives you a good idea of the Avon Valley. So we now really are in the Avon Valley. So we're going to follow it along. Can you see how steeply wooded it is? Along here we're going to turn left, cross that river bridge I talked to you at the other day, where they would have demolished it. That's the Limpy Stoke River Avon crossing. Then the main road goes up over that hill drops down through Winsley into Bradford on Avon, but the railway, the river, and we, the canal, are going to go round the valley. So we're going to take the flat route in, and we'll follow the course of the Green Line just along here. Once we get opposite Freshford station, which is literally just round the valley, about a mile or so, we'll then be on the opposite side of the River Avon, and we'll try and follow the course of the thin Green Line into Bradford on Avon. So in the last video we'd come over that way, a few miles over there, drop down from Midford Hill down into Freshford, followed the Froome along until its confluence into the River Avon at Freshford station. So that's where we're going to rejoin the thin Green Line, along there about a mile or so opposite Freshford station. Here's that shot again that I filmed from the other day, looking down. Gosh, that's flowing really fast. We had some quite heavy rain overnight. See all the mist hugging the valleys. Just round the corner, as the road starts climbing up steeply towards Winsley and then Bradford on Avon, we will join the course of the Kennet Avon canal, which is running parallel to this river in a slightly straighter line. Then we're going to turn right towards Bradford on Avon. Do you know, it's been a while since I've been up here. Oh, there's the canal bridge. I knew it wasn't far. So we're going to continue to follow the course of the thin Green Line along this side of the River Avon, because we've got the benefit of a traffic-free canal path. I gave my bike a really good clean yesterday, and guess what? It rained overnight. Now I'm riding through puddles. So all those houses on that hillside, that's Limply Stoke. The other day we climbed slightly out of Freshford, not leaving the valley, but halfway up. That's where we did the right and the immediate right, and we dropped down there. Freshford is the same, it's built on the slope of a hill. Oh, we get lots of canoeists and waterboarders along here. It's a lovely sight, isn't it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, right. One of the YouTubers I really like watching is Simon, a Bloke in the Woods, and he's a multi-activity person, likes his camping, walking, does a bit of cycling, does a lot of canoeing. He lives around the Norfolk Broads, so he's clearly brought up near water and very accomplished canoeist. Hello. So I love following his videos, especially his canoe trips. He really does get off the beaten track as well, and he's got the ability to do it as well. Highly skilled canoeist. You can hear the train going along there. So we're running, as I said the other day, the main road cuts up and down the hills, which is why it's so hard road cycling around here. The river down there and the railway are all following the flatter course through the valley. You may hear a train coming by. Are we going to see it? Oh yeah, it's up there, look. I love that route there from my local Oldfield Park railway station in Bath down to Dorchester West. I love this section between Bath Spa and about Trowbridge, and then I love the section from Castle Carey down to Yeovil, and then the section between Yeovil down to Dorchester West. Oh, that's like Thomas Hardy country. It's like opening a paperback and it all comes to life. Oh, this is lovely along here. Got the canal there on my left, and we're about 30, 35, 40 feet above the River Avon down there, shimmering in the sun. It's been a few years since I've been along here actually, and I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to be opposite Freshford station, so I'm going to keep stopping and checking my Google Maps, because the great thing with that is I've enabled it to track me. So what that little blue flashing beacon is on Google Maps. It's not always 100% accurate, especially when you're in tree cover like this, but it roughly tell me when I'm opposite Freshford station. Then I can get the binoculars out and see if we can view the pillbox, the elusive pillbox under the railway bridge. So hopefully this is on camera. I'm on my chest camera. That's my blue tracking dot, and we're going to be right opposite Freshford railway station soon. You can see it's quite tree lined, so we may have to find a gap in the trees. For the next few hundred yards I'm going to be looking through the gaps in the trees and seeing if I can get my bearings of Freshford station, and then I can work out where the river crossing is shortly after that. Okay, I've been coming along here really slowly, looking through any gaps in the trees, and there it is right opposite us. Small little halt of Freshford station. I'll see if I can zoom in and give you a better idea. Over there. I know from my explore last week, last Saturday and Wednesday when I filmed the video that I showed you, that just past there the railway will start to curve round and cross the river, and that's where we're looking for a bridge. And underneath one of the arches of that bridge I think is where the pillbox is. I'm going to carry on along here very slowly, looking through any gaps in the trees, and then when we get there I'll find the best vantage point and then get the binoculars out and see if I can see that pillbox. In fact, I see a seat along there, so there must be a viewpoint there. I can hear a train coming along from the Bradford direction. Whether it's going to stop at Freshford, I don't know. My service from Oldfield Park is only every second one that stops. It sounds like it might be slowing, so we may see a train pulling there. Yes, looks like it's stopping. A few hundred yards further on, this little clearing. Can you see the river bending round to the right? I can just see the arches on there. In fact, I think I can see the pillbox. Let's see if I can zoom in. You can see how beautiful it is along here. Look at all these canal side houses. Just at the foot of the steep woods. Then it comes down, there's this little shelf for the Kennet Avon canal. Then it drops down to the river. That's Upper Limpley Stoke up there. And on the other side of the river, again raised slightly above, is the railway there. There's a station just behind this tree. See the course fit along there. There's an arch there, bridge, some gates. That's for the farmer to come down to his field, I guess. It's probably the same sheep we saw the other day, but in the upper field. And then you carry on along the embankment, and I can see the brick, the purple engineering bricks and the arches of the bridge. But I can definitely see the pillbox there. It's a brick structure. But I've just noticed that seat there. It says, "In loving memory of Paul Joseph Rigby, 1940 to 1991. So gosh, 1940, when these pillboxes were built, about 85 years ago. Gosh, bit of a poignant seat that actually. As we come around this bend, I can hear that train stopped round there. That must be Avon Station. Look how close we are to the railway now. Right above it, then there's the river. You can hear people walking along the As, a gentleman calling his dog. Look how high the river is. So somewhere along here is our next pillbox. Just a second ago, where that sun had broken through the clouds, there was a big burst of steam coming off here while the moisture's evaporating. You can see it in all the hills up there. We're very, very close to the next pillbox, so it's somewhere around here on this gap, on this near side bank of the river, I think. The footpath's over there where those two gentlemen are with the dog, and there's a seat there. But somewhere around here is the pillbox. Unless it's back that way. If I've missed it, I'll get a second shot on the way back. Can you see I should be right on top of the pillbox? So whether it's the other side of the railway embankment, that looks like it slopes down to that grassy field, or this side where it's all overgrown, I don't know. I'll keep looking out, but I notice there's that footpath on the other side of the bank. There's a seat over there. Maybe a case of going along there sometime and looking from the opposite direction. Train coming by. So somewhere about here, I think this may be a case of locating that footpath from over there. I am getting the train down to Dorchester in a couple of weeks' time. Me and my wife are going down there for my birthday. So on the way down, I'll get a chance to look out the railway window. On the way back I won't, because we're going to the pub for a meal and it'll be dark by the time we get the last train back. I have to say, those blue pins in Google Maps, the overlay of the fortifications, they're fairly accurate, but they're not 100% accurate. So obviously if a pillbox was down in there, there's no way I'd see it from up here. I think it's on that strip of green below this embankment, but before the embankment up to the railway, or maybe the other side of the railway embankment, but I haven't seen it along here. As I said, I've got another shot. I can go along that footpath along there, maybe sometime next week. Who knows, when I come back today in the opposite direction I might see it. It's what sometimes happens. You don't get it right first time always, do you? Sometimes life doesn't work first time, does it? You have to have multiple goes. I mean, if life did work like that, WD-40 would be called WD-1, wouldn't it? Right, here's the aqueduct coming up. So there's quite a bit of intricate cycle work we've got to do around here. I'll try and show you as we go underneath the canal.
I love you.
Here's the far end of the aqueduct. And there's the car park, which is what we're aiming for. There's the pillbox, I can see it from here, look. Can you see that heron there? Then there's a footpath that goes up, some wooden steps, and then there's the brick pillbox there. I can see one of the firing apertures. So a stone's throw from where we are, that pillbox. I'm going to go over and have a look at it. It's where the car park is, where that gentleman's walking through, fisherman I think. But to get there, we've got to go over the aqueduct, go underneath it, twirl around, come up the other side to carry on that way. There we are. Avon Cliff Aqueduct. Looking down on the railway line. Doing this right angled turn here over the aqueduct. There's the pillbox just through there. I'm going to go over the other side of the canal and look at that. And this is the aqueduct. And the station's over there. That's the station car park. Looking down on the railway. So our other pillbox was along there. I think it's along the green field strip. Just as the line bends round to the right. It was a left hand turn for us coming the other way. I've got my binoculars out, but I cannot see one. But it would be the companion of that one. So whether it's this side, between the canal and the railway, in which case if it is, it's going to be totally overgrown, or whether it's the other side of the railway, that strip of green along there, don't know. You can see there's footpaths either side of the river where the fishermen go. So at some point, maybe next week one day, I'll ride out here and see if I can spot that pillbox on the other side. This spot here, I did a rough camp here about 20 odd years ago, 25 years ago, maybe longer. I'd got the train down to Emsworth near Portsmouth, Hayling Island, and I'd walked back along there's a walk in Hampshire, I forget what it's called there, the Wayfarer's Walk, and then that finished quite close to the Kennet Avon canal. Then I linked the two and walked back into Bath. And I spent my last night camping here. And one of my friends, the guy that actually, one of the founders of the cycle scheme, the cycle to work scheme, millionaire now because he sold it on as one of the startup entrepreneurs, he came along here because he used to work at Avon Valley Cycles underneath the railway arches at Bath, and he lived in Bradford on Avon, Winsley I think, and he came along here. We were having a chat, and then we were just chatting. I was setting my tent up there, cooking my tea on that seat. He was commuting home, and then this other guy in a canoe came along, another cyclist from Bath Cycling Club, a guy called Pete Best, came along in a canoe. Not to be confused with the Pete Best who was the original drummer in the Beatles. That was a weird incident actually. There's me rough camping at the end of a long walk, a cyclist commuting, and a canoeist. You can just hear the overpowering flow. I think there's a weir here. We're right over the river, strip of land where the fishermen are, the railway, then above the railway it's of course the canal. It's a wonderful aqueduct. Okay, to get where that guy is we've got to do one heck of a curly whirly down there. I remember once I was doing a 200-kilometre DIY Audax. So I'd been down to Taunton and I came back along the canal and it was pitch black, and gosh, if I hadn't have had the Garmin I would not have worked out how to do this. In the pitch black, this is so complicated. This is complicated in the daytime. You can see there's roads going off, and there's also footpaths to the pub and a cafe over there to cross guns. So there's lots of options to go different directions. So it's difficult enough to navigate this in the daylight, but on that Audax it was really tricky. So we're trying to get down there, that's right. I think. Just so many years since I've done this. Here the train's going by. So to continue to Bradford and Avon we're going to go that way, but first up I want to go to the end of the aqueduct, go and have a look at that pillbox. I had to really stop and think about that and look at the Garmin track. In the daylight it's quite complicated to do that in the pitch black at the end of a 200-kilometre Audax. Now I remember the time was starting to run out. I'd been a bit too laid back and then I suddenly realised I was going to miss my cut-off point if I was not too careful. Steps down to the railway station there. I just want to go over and have a look at that pillbox. Gosh, this one's quite overgrown. It looks like its entrance there. That's looking back over at the Cross Keys, directly into the sunlight I'm afraid. There's the aqueduct. So we came in that way, went in the opposite direction those two people are walking, turned right, did kind of like a loop-the-loop underneath and came up on that side. When we leave we'll be carrying on that way, but I just wanted to come up and have a look at this pillbox. And its companion would be along there somewhere, which we haven't located. It's good excuse to come back here, isn't it? Gosh, what a lovely sight. Just hear the roar of water over there because there's a weir on the river. That's looking up at the pillbox. Stop line green. So far today it's been quite successful. On the third attempt I actually located the one underneath the arches at Freshford station. There's one this morning we haven't been able to see. That's a good example of what I said the other day. There's the main reinforced concrete structure. Then it had like a twin skin, the outer brick. That's the opposite of the houses where I live. Whenever you drill holes in the wall to put in wall plugs, say, put up shelves, all this orange powder used to come out. I thought, how come there's orange powder coming out of Bath stone? It's because Bath houses are faced with Bath stone, but they're brick on the inside. So I'm going to continue into Bradford on Avon now, along the canal. There's a train just about to shoot by. We're looking down on Avon Cliff Hawk there. Train zooming through. As Freshford, I think every other train from Bath will stop there, or sometimes it's a request. You need to ask the train manager to stop there, and it's only got the capacity for one carriage to open its door. You get told where to stand actually. I think it's the front carriage because obviously the short length of the platform. You may hear behind, that's a roar of a weir there. Going to run alongside that. But meantime, get back on the canal, start heading into Bradford on Avon. Okay, back on the aqueduct. And we're heading into Bradford on Avon, round to the left. That's where that cyclist is, where the two cyclists are. That's the way I came in. And then we carry on round this way to Bradford on Avon. So that's the way we looped around underneath the aqueduct, and now we're carrying on this way into Bradford on Avon. Before we get into Bradford on Avon, we're going to turn left into a country park, and that's where the pillbox will be. That's where I'm going to finish this part of the survey today. Right, lovely smell of paraffin and wood burners along here. We're on the north side of the hills now, so it's quite shady in here, hence all the wood burners and paraffin burner smoke. They haven't caught the sun here yet. That's a lovely sight and a lovely smell, isn't it? Wood burner going away. It's a few degrees colder here. I've managed to take off my gloves and ride in mitts, but I'm definitely feeling a nip on my fingertips here because we're in the shade of the hill. Oh, there's a nice gap in the hill line there where the sun's breaking through. Gosh, you can feel the warmth straight away. Lovely little wooden bridge there, bridge number 173. Hello. So we're coming up to our country park exit. We're going to turn left here. Somewhere along here. Oh, here it is, footpath. Here's the country park. 14th century ties barn, historic Barton Farm, craft shops, tea room, town centre. So we're going to go down to the park, cross the river, it looks very, very high, and then ride back towards the canal, and we're going to cross the river. That should be quite impressive. And here, somewhere around here, is the final pillbox for this morning. Here's where we are. Lots of detail on the map at the moment. There's my blue homing circle right next to the ties barn. Can you see? That's it there. 14th century ties barn. We're going to start crossing down up towards that river crossing there. Can you see there's a bridge across the river? And that's where the final pillbox for today will be. Okay, let's go and locate that from the canal to the river. If you actually tap the blue pins, it'll give you a bit more information. So it says Ties Barn Bridge, Bradford on Avon, GHQ Stopline Green, and it's going to be a Type 24 pillbox. So the Type 24s are most of what we've seen. They're hexagonal, roughly hexagonal in shape, and they accommodated Bren guns, which is why those all the different apertures give it as wide field of fire as possible. Then there were also Type 26 pillboxes, which I believe would house 2-pounder guns, which were very effective apparently as anti-tank weapons, but after the Dunkirk evacuation there weren't many of those left, and so most of the pillboxes were designed for the Bren guns. Okay, just need to carry the bike down these steps. Look quite slippery as well, so take care. There's the river bridge there. Gosh, the river flow looks very fast and very high. And you can see the edge of Bradford on Avon. So all these riverside towns seem to be built on big slopes, don't they? There was Freshford, Stoke, Bradford on Avon. That river looks so high, it really, really does. Look down on that shortly, and somewhere as we cross it will be the pillbox. Gosh, it's really flooded here. Can you see this as we walk across? We're only just going to make this. 2 swans there, look. Wow, this is incredible. Never seen it this high before. So somewhere around here is the pillbox. Wow. There's a railway bridge going in, very low railway bridge. Its flood pillars, supports. That river is just so high. That's looking back the way we've come. Oh, I can see there's a war memorial over there. Big wreath of poppies behind the rowing club. Oh, Bradford on Avon Boat Club. Looking back at the country park. And just as the grass ends, and then there's the trees going up to the top. About a quarter of the way up would be the canal going along there. Can't see it because of the trees. That's amazing, that little pond that's formed where the swans are, and the little footbridge across there. There's the ties barn and the country park, looking across the low railway bridge. I just got Google Maps up to see where the pillbox is likely to be, and as I said, the pins are roughly accurate but not 100%, so I was looking that side of the bridge and I suddenly realised it's right behind you. Oh no, it's not. Oh yes it is. I wonder if it'll tell you anything about it on there. The surviving pillboxes in the Avon Valley. There's a really good explainer board here, and this is all about the pillbox. It says the War Office produced 7 basic designs of pillboxes in 1940. The Barton Bridge pillbox, this one, Barton Bridge, is a hexagonal type 24. In Major Green's book that I got last Saturday, that I was referring to on the last video, he refers to these hexagonal types as type 29s. Now he's a major, obviously knows what he's talking about, so there's a discrepancy. Some people call them 24s, some people call them 29s. It says this one, it's one of 170 that made an important defensive line running from Freshford through Avon and Bradford on Avon to Reading. Oh, this is where this stop lines cross, that's right. We're on the green line, and then it, as it's a circle, it intersects the blue line and the red line, I believe. That's what it refers to as it carries on along to Reading. But our green line curves round and it will follow the River Avon here out through Chippenham, Melksham, and then it will climb out of the Avon Valley up over the Cotswolds. I'm going to be exploring all of this in an anti-clockwise direction over the course of the year. Not every video is going to be about it, but the local ones make ideal rides at the moment, don't they? I can just come out and be home soon after lunchtime. I will take some photographs of that, but because of the water and the moisture underneath the plastic screen, it's a bit difficult to read. It says most of the pillboxes survive, many covered in vegetation and used by wildlife. This one remains walled up because it's a protective bat roost. That's right. I'm told when you go up to Hogswood, there's one of them you shouldn't go in at certain times of the year. I need to research that carefully before I go because it's a protected bat roost. If in doubt, I won't go in any of them. So you can see the apertures are open for the bats, but humans won't get in there. So it's great, lovely wildlife, isn't it? The swans, the fish, just the wildlife that would thrive along here. The bats in there. So I'm not sure if you can see the course of the River Avon through there. We're going to cross the river here, make our way up, and then start heading back towards Bath on the northern bank of the river. So we'll have the river on our left for a bit and the railway. Then we'll head back to the canal. So a slight variation on the theme on the way back. It says here, we know of course that the pillboxes were never needed. The invasion never happened, and the fear of the pillboxes would be a death trap for the soldiers ordered to man them was never put to the test. On the back of Major Green's book, the back cover is a manual for soldiers, an infantry guide from 1940, and it refers to them saying they could be very effective if intelligently used, but they could also be death traps. So as we go through the roads during the summer, I'll talk to you more and more about that book. And there's a diagram of it. You can see there's a blast wall in the middle of it. They're roughly hexagonal with all the different field of firing points, the apertures. And I said the other type, the type 26, were more square. Okay, I'm just following the Garmin now actually, because I have been here before, but I can't remember, I'm not sure which way I'm heading. I'm totally reliant on the Garmin here. I'm just loving hearing that water go under the bridge. All the swirling edges you get. There's a train just coming by on that railway bridge behind me. That was good timing. As I say, I love that railway journey down there. We do it so often. Through the country park, crossing the railway here, as you can see. Put the camera away for that. Just need to pay attention, get across there. Then just got to push along this footpath slightly, then we're going to join the road up there. So just leaving the country park now on this footpath. That railway is ever so busy, whether there's some engineering works or not, I'm not sure. But as well as the little 2 and 3 car locals that normally run along here, there seem to be a lot of the curved front, the London Express types. So whether there's weekend engineering works or not, I don't know, but I've seen quite a few of the Express go by. Anyway, off to Muddy Footpath. We're on this road now, which is a lovely way to leave. We're on this lovely little road at the foot of the valley. We've got the railway on our left hand side and the river, heading towards Turley. And it can be quite a steep climb up here if you want to go back to Bath on tarmac. You actually have to climb up through the woods to Winsley, then drop down Winsley Hill. As I said, I'm not doing that. I'm going to head back alongside the Kennet Avon canal. Come in on a very minor track. Lovely along here though. A lot of people out walking. If we're heading back to Bath on tarmac, we'd be going up that massive hill, climbing up the valley. Can you see? We're taking this flatter road alongside the foot of the valley, heading along to Avon Cliff railway station. Beautiful, isn't it? Oh, there's the railway right next to us. It's beautiful along here. This is lovely up here. Just slightly raised up above the railway, not by much, 5 or 6 feet, and behind it is the river. Didn't realise they were so close to each other along here. So this in effect is a no-through road, signposted to Avon Cliff station. But that's fine, it helps me get back on the Kennet Avon canal. May hear a train about to come by. So the tarmac road, if I'd carried on, is heading up there. It's quite hard going. It's not steep as a gradient, but it's just a long old drag which is unforgiving. It's not till you get to the top you suddenly realise why you're so tired, because you have climbed a lot in elevation. I'm starting to get a bit peckish. I'm thinking because Avon Cliff was such a sun trap, I might have my sandwich there. Train coming by my left. This railway is so busy this morning, it really is. There you go, there's one of their London type expresses. Not sure why those coming through here, where there's engineering works of some sort at Westbury. They sometimes use this as a diversion. When I came back from a camping trip on Exmoor, several videos down, I had to come back this way. I should have come up from Taunton, Bridgewater, Bristol, Temple Meads, because there was an issue on the track. There'd been some track damage. They diverted this up to Westbury and we came in this way. So I can only assume that's the reason why the London Expresses are coming through here. Wow, Knight Frank, one of the upper market estate agents. And if I show you Garmin, can you see coming up to what looks like joining up a square, finishing our circuit. We're coming into Avon Cliff. It's that very distinctive tower there. You might hear the roar of the weir over there, and also the sound of that water coming off the fields there. Slightly sunken lane here, field water coming off into that drain, which is probably going through a culvert down into that weir. And the road will end along here in the car park, and then we'll turn left and rejoin the canal. And hey ho, the canal is right in front of us. Wow, there's the pillbox. Here we are, back overlooking Avon Cliff Port Station. The river down there, the weir behind, Kennet and Avon Canal doing this big S-bend. So we're heading back towards Bath that way. I'll get off at Limpley Stoke, back up through Monkton Coombs School, 2 tunnels, etc. the way I came out. So we're finishing our circuit here. Need to go along here, replicate what we did before, turn left, do a 360 underneath the aqueduct, 360 the other side to get out there, then head back towards Bath. I am going to look through the binoculars as I go back in that direction to see if I can spot that other pillbox, but I believe it may well be coming out here on the bike and riding back alongside the river there, seeing if I can spot it from the other bank. Just changed tow paths by doing the big curly whirly underneath twice, looking back towards Bradford on Avon. Here's one of those London Express trains that don't normally use this line. As I said, that must just be down to engineering works, I think somewhere, some kind of temporary diversion. And just where it is now, I think I can see the pillbox. Got the binoculars out, I'm not 100% sure. I think I'm going to try and zoom in with my camera, but that might be out there, which means I am definitely going to come out here and walk along there, work out how to get access down there. I just filmed an end of the video there along that brick wall on the other side of the canal, on the other side of the aqueduct, looking down at Avon Station. Now I think I know where that pillbox is. I'm pretty sure there'll be access down to it, maybe under the railway or over the railway. If you see the green strip of the field running alongside, there's the river, the green strip, then slightly higher is the railway, and even higher would be the course of the canal. I'm pretty sure I can drop down to that because I can see people along there. They haven't walked this way, they must have walked that way. So I'm going to see if I can get to that pillbox, and if not, I'll go back to the finish that I've already filmed there. I think this is a good place to finish the video because we've been out here, identified most of the pillboxes. I roughly know where that other one is. I'm going to have a look on the way back, see if I can spot it. If so, I'll finish the video there. But if you're watching this, it means I'm finishing the video here. It's going to mean another trip out. I'll ride just directly here and then walk through the fields and see if I can spot that pillbox from the other side. If you got this far, thanks so much for watching and see you next time. Bye for now.